welcome to the Crossroads Sports Radio Show, presented by Scott K. Nichols and State Farm Insurance. And now, here's your hosts, Brandon Reef and Jonathan Birdsong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crossroads Sports Radio, episode number 277. And I'm your host, Brandon Reef. Be joined momentarily by my co-host, Jonathan Birdsong. We are giving you a special Tuesday night episode. Tuesday night, myself, JB. We've got a lot to recap. We've got the NFL from this past weekend. We've got Colts Patriots over in Germany. We've got news and notes from around the NFL, games from around the NFL, college football, big college football week going on. We've got college football to talk about. We've got Pick'em from last week, Pick'em to this week. We've got that to talk about. We've got NBA news and notes, the Pacers update. We got college basketball. College basketball is swinging right now. Champions Classics tonight. Duke and Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky. Nothing better than that, but I guess one thing better than that, I can't do this show on my own. So here's my co-host, Jonathan Birdsong. JB, how are you?
Oh, man, doing just fine, man. You are so kind, man, but that's not true, man. Brandon Reed, listen, y'all, Brandon Reed did this show before I even came on the show, man, so I do appreciate the love that Brandon Reed said he can't do the show by himself, man. That's cap, but no, man, it's good to be back, man. You know, how the week goes by so fast, man.
Tuesday night show.
I know we got a lot to talk about. Tuesday night show. Well, I mean, still, Tuesday night show, but still goes by so fast. And dude, I know we got a lot to talk about, and I can't wait till we start talking about college football because it don't stop on the weekend, does it? College football goes from Friday to Saturday, and football just kind of takes, and then we kind of lose into the NFL, man. But give us the official rundown.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Big show tonight. Tanner, I don't know if we're gonna have Tanner call in tonight. Schedules have kind of been a little different for him, so likely won't have Tanner tonight, but we'll get his picks and put them on. But John, I want to start right in to the NFL. To recap some of the NFL stuff. Colts, Patriots, the evil empire, the New England Patriots, what's left of them, the shell of the former self, played in Germany. John, it was an ugly game. Needless to say, but the Germans are probably pissed with what the product does that we gave them over there. Colts win, but it's an ugly win. Minshew looked terrible over there. Not as bad as Mac Jones, but John, it just bad football around. But in the end, all it matters when you look at it, it's going to be who got the dub, and it's the Colts over the Patriots.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, from a fan base and from a team standpoint, you take the win. So win column, the AFC South is still up for grabs in that regard. Even though I do believe the Texans. No, it's still up for grabs, man. You know what I'm saying, mathematically, right? So
yep.
You have to competitive football team in Indianapolis. But here's the thing, though, Brandon. It was a hot mess on so many levels, And you speak to the people that were there and watched it, Brandon, they were doing the daggone wave, man. Listen, listen,
I heard Wonderwall and Country Roads play.
Come on, Brandon. The NFL done sold a primetime NFL old school rivalry. The Indianapolis Colts versus New England Patriots. You done sold this over here to the German people, man, and they got a full house, about 55,000 people there, or 54,000, something crazy like that, right, Brandon? But listen, man, what? I don't know, man. I was asked, man, what? A guy I work with, man, he asked me, he said, man, find out how much was the split, how much the NFL get versus in the networks get, because that's interesting, right? Because outside of that, man, that game was gross. Gardner Minshew looked like a backup. Mac Jones got benched. Man, I couldn't believe it. I just Bill Belichick second guessing this, third guessing himself. You know what I'm saying? The kid Zappy those are picks, but Mac Jones he probably won't go back on the field ever again as a New England Patriot. But no, man. From a coach standpoint, if you root for that team, man, you take that win, and like I said, you walk into the bye week hoping that Gardner Minshew can get the jitters out of his happy feet, man, because man, he looked like a different quarterback in his last couple starts.
Yeah, he did. John did kind of give you some notes. The NFL played in Germany last year, and they had just the one game last year over there. It was the Bucks and the Seahawks. And if you look, I'm looking back now of the economic impact of the inaugural game that was in Germany. Last year, that one game generated over $77 million for the host city of Munich. 77 mil for the city.
Wow.
Comes out to 70 million euros. So, and that was just for one game. And you got to think they've had a game for 2 weeks there now, back-to-back weeks. So, $140 million possibly. Yeah. And another thing I found, John, it says, so let's see if it'll let me read it all the way through. It may give me a paywall here. VIP tickets for the game. For the first one was over $3,000 for VIP tickets for that game, and it's crazy because Kansas City expects to generate more than $1.5 million in revenue this year from sponsorships and others from the Germany deal.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams are expected to make over $1 million themselves, even the Colts. But yeah, so Frankfurt, it'll be interesting to see when those numbers come out of how much money Frankfurt got out of this. I tell you, the game was in October last year. The report finally came out in May of this year. So we probably got to wait until next May to get the report on the final numbers for what the economic impact was for the Colts game. You got to also remember it's a smaller arena too, a smaller venue. So that may have something to do with it.
Right. So like a one-time venue is getting like $80 million. You know what I'm saying? If you round up between $70 and $80 million.
Colts are going on a bye week this week, so they flew back home. Bye week, feeling good about themselves. Yeah, so you kind of got what you want right now, John. If you could tell me beginning of the season, you lose your starting quarterback. You've had issues with your starting running back for the first part of the season. You're 5-5, and you're going on bye week, and you're only 2 games out of the division. I think you'd be pretty happy hearing that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, it still got a little issues with one of their own higher paid some defensive backs and Shaq Leonard, but
he's upset, John, but he ain't playing worth a shit.
Well, if he complaining about he can't. Now listen here, man. He can't be complaining about the system because other guys in the system are eating, man. The secondary looks good, does it not?
Yes, it did. But also, I'm gonna look back the last 2 weeks who the quarterbacks have been.
Hey, man, you gotta play. Stop that, Brad. You gotta play who's on your team. And hell, listen. Parallel that same. CeeDee Lamb was talking about he's the best wide receiver after playing the New York Giants. Come on, man.
I mean, his stats showed it there, but yeah, you're right. Looking around other games for the league, Bears did.
Why is Shaq?
No, go ahead.
Hold on, Brad. He's not happy because of what? His playing time or his impact on the game?
He's feeling like he's not being, for his talent and his value, is not being best used how it should be.
All right, man. Well, then. How ugly does he really want this breakup to get? Because this guy has to say you want to break it from the coach.
I mean, it's I feel like the writing's on the wall. It's coming. So,
right.
We'll see. Bears beat the Panthers 16-13 on Thursday night. I didn't catch any of this game, John. On Thursday night, I was and that'll be a whole nother story we'll talk about. But I was at the Undertaker's One Dead Man show on Thursday night. So I want to recap that a little bit. Remind me later on. I do want to talk a little bit. I'm not going to talk all of it because it was a cool place. You couldn't have your cell phones out. Your cell phones had to be in pouches and locked away, and your electronics and all that stuff. So I don't want to give all the stories away, at least on the air. Now, personally, when me and you off air, I'll tell you all of them because it was an amazing 2 hours with Taker. But I didn't get checked any of this game, so I expected the Bears to come out and win this game. Badgett threw for 162 yards. Foreman had 80 yards rushing. They're getting ready to get Herbert back this next week. Carolina's just right. Man, how pissed are they the fact they probably took the wrong guy? Because C.J. Stroud is being talked in the MVP. He's not going to win it, but he's being in that NFL MVP talk. They picked the wrong guy.
I don't know how crazy. I don't really know how crazy that is, man. But he doesn't turn the ball over at a high rate. He does not. For a rookie quarterback, what you expect.
Now, is that the quarterback or the system? So if Bryce Young was in Houston's system, what would it look like?
I think with that though, Brandon, it's a little unfair, man. Like they gave up a lot.
Yep.
And thinking and not knowing that they needed still a lot to have around Bryce Young to be successful. Okay. Who does he have what's the run game look like for Carolina Panthers, right? Stinks. What's the wideouts look like for Carolina Panthers? They stink. What does the tight ends look like? I could go on so on and so forth. So we put a whole lot on Bryce Young's head, but like him, Coach Frank Wright, Brandon, it sounds like he took that job just because he didn't want to be unemployed.
I don't blame
you. Know what I mean? So I don't blame him because all the money's green, but like he gets in there and I said, well, I didn't really want, but like, man, how did you not want him when all the year evaluations in the offseason, y'all moved up to get him. Y'all made that deal with Chicago. And you know what I'm saying, to move up and what you know what I'm saying, and away you go. So Brandon, the grading on this season, just remember a couple years ago, man, people kind of doubted what the Jaguars were going to do, right? And if the homie Goldilocks down there could play. And you know what I'm saying, I think it's gonna take time. You know what I'm saying? They got to get an offensive tackle. They got to get a left tackle. You know what I'm saying? A running game. You know what I'm saying? They got to get special at other positions as well too before we can just totally. We waiting on the black money for when Frank Wright gets fired anyway. That's what we are waiting on. So Chicago had if Chicago didn't win that game, there'd have been real questions. But like, no, man. I can't wait to hear about this Undertaker conversation.
Oh, it's so many stories. Talk about coming back from the dead. Besides the Undertaker, John, Baltimore pissed down their leg at the end of the game at home, and the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Undertaker meme from Twitter. Undertaker sits up. Cleveland wins 33-31 over the Browns. Good Lamar, bad Lamar. How many times have we talked about that this year?
Man, I feel like a prophet, man. Because now, like all the, the ESPNs of the world, the Fox Sports of the world are talking about when Lamar not do. It's been on tape forever.
Right.
When does he not throw an interception in a big time game? It's not like Dak Prescott. Because like you kind of alluded to it, and I kind of still agree with you. I agree with you, Brandon. Like you said, the Ravens will stay close in the game where Lamar will, with his legs, or with his dynamicism, right? If that's the word, make a play. Well, sometimes, just like you alluded to as well, high risk, high reward, man. And unfortunately, man, there's a lot of high reward plays. It's a high risk plays where it didn't go their way, and it's happened again, man. And Brandon, that's the game they needed. And like mathematically, man, this AFC North thing, and probably the potential of all of the AFC is going to come down to like a half game here or there.
Yeah, it's while Baltimore 7-3, Pittsburgh and Cleveland both 6-3, and the Bengals at 5-4. We'll go Bengals real quick, John. Man, Man, just when we thought they're turning the corner, the Bengals lose. They lose to the Houston Texans 30-27. Wild NFL.
Yeah, wild NFL, man. The homie down there in Texas is probably flirting with potential coach of the year, man. Because remember that last 2 seasons, man, nobody wanted the Houston Texans job. They had a quarterback didn't want to be there, and you know what I'm saying, there was a whole big controversy and all that. But like now, Houston Texans is dude. The Houston Texans are over the Tennessee Titans and the Colts, are they not?
Yeah.
And it's definitely, as far as the division is concerned, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, that was bad. That was a bad showing.
They got stopped. We thought they would get stopped. Me and you both picked the 49ers.
Even though I thought they'd lose, I didn't think it'd be a bad showing like that, man. You know what I'm saying? They scored 3 points. 3 points all total, man. They couldn't move. They couldn't do anything. Other than let Brock Purdy start throwing touchdowns on them, man. But like, no, man. And then McCaffrey, he's the only one that didn't score.
Right.
I think some of that effect, man, everybody scored, man. So
yeah,
Jacksonville still got some things kind of ironed out. But like, man, now the AFC South, man, who knew, man? It's competitive, and like I said, the total AFC is, like I said, it's probably gonna come down to like one. As far as playoff, you know what I'm saying, contention is concerned, but come down to like one and a half games, 2 games separate whoever wins the division versus whoever gets in or whoever don't get in.
I need you to apologize for a team, John, because
Whoa,
you
gotta apologize first.
You owe a team an apology.
Who I got to start to?
You owe an apology because you left this team for dead, that they were done. It was a wrap. Everybody was either hurt and out. You owe the Minnesota Vikings, who are 6-4. You owe them an apology because with Josh Dobbs, former Steeler, they out here stomping.
They out here winning one for the Gipper, man. They out here winning one for the Gipper.
Yeah.
Dudes on the sideline, Kirk Cousins out here like Ronald Reagan was, and they Notre Dame playing Newt Rockney or something like that. Man, he's out here winning one for the Gipper, man. Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? They allowed to get that wild card still.
Yeah, Minnesota's going crazy. Josh Dobbs, former Steeler, he's just out there, and it gives Minnesota a lot more versatility. And now they have to think about, now they're kind of in that playoff spot where they're thinking, Justin Jefferson, do we bring him back or not? Right now, they are the 7th seed. So they would be taking on their rivals from the north, the Detroit Lions, in the first round of the playoffs right now, if the playoffs started today. And speaking of the Lions,
hey,
John.
Hold on, man. You said the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't believe that's who you owe apologies to.
No.
Man. All that smut. Whoa. All that smut you put on their name. Mike Canada. Matt Canada.
It's still there. It's still there. Listen. This Steelers team is the first team in NFL history through their first 9 games. They have been out yardaged for offensive yards every game of the season, and they're still 6-3 somehow. First time in NFL history, a team is 6-3 after getting out yardaged every single game of the year.
Defense win championships, man. That's all I can tell you.
Well, that is true. Tomlin did say today that he needs more from Pickett. He needs more from Kenny. They are starting Jalen Warren now. If announced today, they are going to start Jalen Warren over Najee Harris, which right now they're both getting good equal opportunity. And you know what, John? They rushed for 150 yards last week against the Packers. When's the last time that happened in a Steeler game? It's been a long time because the run game has sucked and the pass game has sucked, and we've gotten lucky on something. But Steelers win 23-19 over the Packers. Jordan Love, he looked all right. He looked all right that game. 289, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Right. The way I look at it, man, Pittsburgh is concerned. They're in a brain trust of Pittsburgh concerned when they have to level up and play high-power offensive teams or teams that can equal their defensive intensity.
And it's coming.
You know what I'm saying? Right, and we know it's right. They know it's coming down the pipeline, and right, they need more. They need Kenny. Oh my goodness, man! Like, dude, like there's a lot of bad quarterback play, man. What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of bad.
Mac Jones, that kid, and Zach Wilson, Kenny Pickett is not. I'm just talking young quarterback play where guys I thought was kind of like aired out, and it's not. It's necessarily not. It's not translated. Either the game is going too fast for him, or the offense coordinator is putting guys in, man. It's not complimentary, or I don't know, Brandon.
I will give you.
I think when you're young, go ahead. I think when you're your quarterback, I'm gonna get the point out. I think it's different now. When you're a real quarterback, they always say you got to have a good running game. I think you also got to have a good tight end to be a safety.
Well, and Frymouth's been out for the last 6 weeks. He's still in the IR, which it looks like he might be coming back this week. Tomlin said today in his presser. But I know I gave you my vote of confidence in Pickett early in the season, early in the year. But we're on week 10 now. We just finished week 10. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games left. I need to see in these final 8 games some improvement in the stat categories from Kenny. Not just in the fourth quarter. We can't keep just hanging in there for 3 quarters and then all right, fourth quarter, let's play, let's do our thing. I need more from Kenny. And there is a poor part of me, John, that says by the end of this season, if I don't see it, maybe he's not the guy. And that's the first time I'm ever saying that. But you can't go out here against the Green Bay Packers team that's struggling and you throw for 126 yards. 14 of 23 for 126 yards. The week before, 160 yards. Like, there's got to be more substance than that for what the hell you're throwing at. And week 8, when they Jacksonville, he threw for 73 yards because he got hurt in the game. But I gotta see more, John. The Rams game, he threw for 230, but he's getting progressively worse in yardage right now, and that's a concern to me. Now. Listen, people need to relax because people seem to think.
Right.
Yeah, people seem to think with me like, oh, now you think the Steelers are going to win. No. Steelers ain't going to win the Super Bowl. No. This team is not built to win a Super Bowl. The offense is god awful. We're beating the teams right now that you need to beat, and that's kind of where we are right now with this team. But Kenny's got to prove more. As let's get to the end of the season, I'm going to be wondering, is this really the guy? Because there's going to be some other people out there that I don't know if you go and take a chance on them or not, what you could do possibly. If you look at this, so schedule for this week, they play at Cleveland this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Cincinnati. They've played 6 of the first 9 games at home, by the way. So let's think about that real quick. They're 6-3. They've played 6 of their first 9 at home. So this is where the road test is going to be now. At Cleveland, at Cincinnati. That's 2 division games back to back that you got to deal with. And then you're home against the Cardinals. John, you would agree that's a must win. You have to beat the Cardinals in that, and that's in December.
Yeah.
And then week 14, you're home on Thursday night. 5 days later on Thursday night, you're home against the Patriots. That's another must win. So that's putting you at 8 wins.
Right.
Yeah, that puts you at 8 wins there. And then the next week, you're on the road in Indianapolis. I'm not saying it's a must win, but if you really want to do anything and you want momentum, I feel like you got to beat the Colts in Indianapolis. Just the way the kind of Colts this season has gone, you got to beat Indy and Indy.
Right. And to add on kind of what I just said, man, because Cleveland's defense is pretty darn good, man, and they ain't going nowhere. And I still expect a surge out of Cincinnati. They might go seesaw where they win 1, lose 1, win 2.
Pittsburgh has not played Cincinnati yet this year, so we still got 2 more games with them in the final 8.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, a lot of more football left.
So Kenny's got. I got to see more, and I'm giving him 9 games to figure it out before I give my assessment if it's a vote of confidence of yes, or if I think it's time to kind of be looking elsewhere. I still have faith in him, and it's only his second year and his first full season. But you got to figure something out. And the Steelers only right now 3 wins away from having that over 500 record again. So we'll see what happens with that. John, probably one of the best games of the week. Lions beat the Chargers 41-38 last second. Lions marching on to 7-2.
I know for a fact our sponsor, Scott K. Nichols, State Farm Insurance, loves the fact that the Detroit Lions are the number 1 team in the NFC North Division and are looking at potentially hosting a playoff game, right? All those things, kind of positivity kind of going on with that team in that city. You got to kind of tip your hat to them. They had a lot of heartbreakers last year. If you want to compare last year versus this year, they had a lot of close game heartbreakers where, you know what I'm saying, and like now they've got, you know what I'm saying, staff supporting around. It's still a little hokey to me, Brandon. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they go too much for it on fourth down. Sometimes their special teams, you know what I'm saying? You know, you know what I mean? Still, you know what I mean? You still pray a little brand of football, a little bit too close to the edge, I would say, right? But like, no, man, they're winning, and you can't take no away from that. The kid from Michigan, Hutchinson, again, he's having a pretty good season as well, man. So like, no, man, they're hitting on all cylinders, man. No pun intended to the auto industry out there up in Detroit, man. So like, yeah, man, the Lions. I'm not gonna roar anything, Brandon. If I was a fan, I would be roaring. But there.
How about them Cowboys, John? 49-17 over Tommy DeVito, the Italian from Long Island, lives at home with his parents still.
Man.
Cowboys roll. Dak 400 yards. Give him some respect.
CeeDee Lamb said after this game, CeeDee Lamb said he's the best receiver in the National Football League. Man.
11 catches on 14 targets for 151 yards and a tutty.
That was pretty good. That was the elite performance, man. But
he still wasn't the lead receiver on his team.
Right, he wasn't.
Brandon Cooks, 173 yards. But Cowboys look good, John. They're winning the games they need to win.
I know you feel good. You feel good and you're good long term about the Dallas Cowboys. You know, saying potentially upsetting the apple cart either in Philadelphia. You know, saying sometimes you know, saying later on in the season. They still are the, you know, second or third best team. I have to, you know, what I'm saying.
I got him.
Saying so.
Yeah, I got him 10-3 going into December 10th. 10-3. I got them winning the next four games in a row.
Like you said, Kenny Pickett got to show you something. They got to show me more.
Because Sunday, December 10th is Sunday Night Football, and the evil Big Brother's coming to town, Philly.
The evil Big Brother. Okay.
So that.
Well, we'll see what happens then. So there's a lot of winning in between there, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, John. You look at it real quick. I'll roll through. You play at Carolina.
Right.
You play home against the Commanders on Thanksgiving.
Could be a slip up there, man.
You're home the Thursday night game. You're at home against the Seahawks.
Could be a slip up there, man.
I don't think so.
Just cause they could, man. Let's talk about this. Did you see Detroit? Did y'all be talking about the Broncos? You went the other way. I told you I took Denver, buddy.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh my God, you had to
Broncos
play that.
country, let's ride.
Let's ride, Broncos. Broncos win 24-22. Josh Allen and the Bills. They fired Ken Dorsey today.
Damn.
They had 12 men on the field on the last play. I watched that collapse. No lie. I woke up with about 4 minutes to go. I fell asleep the start of the fourth. I woke up with 4 minutes to go. Watched the final four. John, Broncos kicking is rough.
I said, when they gonna fire the coach? Because you can fire all the assistants, man. Like, Man, that's not good.
Are
man.
you the one that told
Buffalo
me
Bills-
you think the problem could be Josh Allen too?
I think it's internally. I think they did.
Is
have
he the guy?
They had a players only meeting,
Okay. Ooh.
and I think they have an internal problem where maybe guys don't like one another.
Is he the
But
guy?
even if you don't like them, he got a lot of fumbles, man, and a lot of big time. I'm like, interceptions is one thing, Brandon, and those are unacceptable. But then you got interceptions and fumbles. What is that? What is like? I mean,
Do
that's not
you
good,
trust
Brandon.
him?
That's,
Let me ask you this.
they went
Going into the playoffs.
They need to mix it up.
Going into the playoffs,
Yeah.
you have to choose one of these two quarterbacks to lead your team.
Yeah, it's really good.
Are you choosing Josh Allen or are you choosing Dak Prescott? That might be a good trivia question for
Oh, wow.
Facebook.
Oh man, that's hurtful.
It's not hurtful. I think it's a great debate. I'm gonna put it on our Facebook ring right now.
Man. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna have to end in the playoffs. Oof. You almost have to go with Josh Allen, man. But like I would say Dak right now because he usually has a better bounce back game. And Buffalo, I get it. This is a little bit harder of an opponent. But like, no, man, Buffalo should. This is definitely a game they should have, at home. At home. This is not on the road. No, man, they should have won this game, man. So like, no, man, I would say Dallas and Dak Prescott.
Okay. We just put it on Facebook a minute ago, so we'll see what kind of responses we get from
looking
everybody.
good. Josh Allen's not looking good.
No, he's not, John. And I wonder how much is him and how much is the system. Maybe I don't know. It's
Well, they really don't have a hell of a running game at all.
no
Whatsoever.
shout out Naeem Hines.
And he's targeted. The big thing is like this. Like when they put it on scientifically on paper, man, he overlooks things. It's almost like it might be personal.
Right, I agree with that. Man, real quick, I'm just looking. I just saw a score come apart. Big Ten basketball, John. Real quick, man, they need to figure it out. Figure it out quick. Right now, they got the Gavitt games going on. Purdue had a big win last night. This is real quick. We got the Champions Classic right now. Duke and Michigan State, they're tied at 12. But Providence, the Friars, who lost their coach, Ed Cooley, who went to Georgetown. 10 minutes to go in the second half. Providence 51, Wisconsin 33. They're down by 20.
Oh, man. Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
And another thing I put on Twitter yesterday, people need to relax because Villanova is not the Villanova that has been there. Jay Wright's retired. The cupboard is starting to become bare, and I think it showed very clear last night when Penn beat. Now, Penn Quakers are decent, but they went into the Plastrada and they beat Villanova last night. So, yeah, just saw that score come across. Yeah, I expected more from Patino.
Well, we got to get the team buy-in. They'll figure it out.
I mean, while we're on basketball, are we a little? I'll have to get Nick Peterson on the call, but are we a little concerned what's going on down in Bloomington? Because if you're just beating the Bobby Knight's team barely, Army, and we're celebrating it like we're going crazy, there's some problems down there, man. It looks like a 6-man rotation down in Bloomington.
Brandon, they were supposed to be a 26-point favorite on Army.
And whoever they played the first week, they were supposed to be a 20-point favorite.
They were down at the half.
Yeah.
Versus Army. They have an NBA guy who has NBA
Allegedly.
scouts, supposedly, right? Right? And they had this dude was all MAC. Hayden Sparks, he's all MAC, 2 years going. He can't get on the floor, Brandon. He didn't play in the first game.
Nope.
He dressed. He didn't play.
John, you beat Florida Gulf Coast by 6, and you beat Army by 8.
Well,
both of these teams are winless still. The net 248 and 178. Not good.
Are these teams gonna make the tournament? I'm talking about IU included.
Well, I mean, IU's strength of schedule. There's 300 and some schools in
It should turn up here pretty soon. They play Wright State next.
Yeah, they play them Thursday, Wright State at home, and then they go to Madison Square Garden and take on Connecticut.
Yeah, it's going to turn up for them.
Then they're at home against Harvard.
So they better get the wins. They better get the wins while they can, when they can.
Yeah, right now their strength of schedule is number 261st. They are in the final quadrant. The lower quadrant, as Jim Irsay would say, of strength of schedule.
Wow.
Is where they're at. Looking at the flip side of the Hoosiers, Boilermakers, we'll hit all our teams here real quick. Boilermakers 3-0, beat Sanford, beat Moorhead, beat a good Xavier team, a decent Xavier team last night. Xavier 22nd in the net, beat them by 12. They play in the Maui Invitational coming up this coming Monday. At 5 o'clock, they play Gonzaga on Monday night. And they have a chance, John, to either play Tennessee, number 1 Kansas, UCLA, or number 4 Marquette still in that Maui Classic. And then you've got Texas Southern at home, Northwestern, Iowa, and then you got Alabama, December 9th, and you got number 12 Arizona, who Arizona, John, we'll get to them. In Israel comes the Indy Classic, Jonathan. I'm going to try to get us possibly some credentials for the Arizona, the Ball State one. Just depends what day the Pittsburgh Colts game is, because it could be the same damn day, and it could be a shitstorm that day. So downtown Indy.
Mm-hmm.
But, Boilermakers are sitting there right now, number 2 in the country. If we look at Ball State, John, they're 1-0. Technically, they beat Goshen, who was non-Division I. They beat Old Dominion on Saturday by 5. And currently, right now, they're playing another non-Division I school in Oakland City. And Ball State's up by 10 right now for that. They play at Evansville this Saturday. Evansville 1-0 to start their year.
Should be another dub. Ball State should beat Evansville. They're going to get road test down there.
And a team that I'm going to keep an eye on more this year is they're 1-1 already, but Notre Dame. Michael Shrewsbury coming over from Penn State back into the state of Indiana. They beat Niagara by 7. They lost to Western Carolina, a bad one on Saturday up there in South Bend. They play Thursday night in Brooklyn against Auburn. That'll be a decent game to kind of see how they match up with Auburn before they kind of get into their ACC SEC challenge. So looking for more from Notre Dame. And then the last one, John, I want to hit, where are they at? The Sycamores, John, Indiana State, shout out. They played the same areas of the Woods. They won by 30, non-Division I school. Last Friday night, they went down to Tuscaloosa, took on number 24 Alabama. They lost 102-80. They put up 80 points against Alabama, so I consider that a plus. And then right now, they're actually playing at home against IUPUI, up 41-18 right now in the first half on IUPUI.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, a couple things that we'll be. Me and Brandon will probably check out up close and personal as our credentials kind of come in. I know Indiana State. They're an up-tempo team, and that's kind of how they want to play. IUPUI has themselves kind of come out the gate of winning. But like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Real test for them, both of those teams kind of night. And we kind of be interested to see who wins. So, you know, so who's the Portsmouth Suns kind of went on that game. Because I do believe Indiana State plays IU in 2 weeks, I think. If I'm not mistaken or something like that. But
they play.
But like, no, man, basketball.
No, Indiana State does not play IU. They play Ball State.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah. So, yeah.
The same day of the Indy Classic. The same day Purdue and Arizona play in Indy, Ball State and Indiana State play.
Oh, man, it's going to be wild up there. So, like, yeah, man, you know, basketball is it's in full swing. You know what I'm saying? We'll be losing our minds about that.
Yep. Speaking of losing our minds, let's bring our guy on. D-Cop, what's going on? Heading up down I-74.
Good evening, gentlemen. No, not
welcome back.
Good to hear you guys, man. Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, so I came in, I'm hearing hoops, right? So I want to hit on that. So, you know, Indiana struggled mightily, but that's why you start off with the cupcakes early in the season, right, to work out the key. I'm hoping this isn't, what they're going to be this year, because they couldn't shoot worth a blank, and they couldn't defend worth a blank, especially on the pick and roll. A little disappointed in that at this stage of where Mike is, and with the guys. He doesn't have a bunch of freshmen coming in. He's got some veteran players, but they didn't look really good at all, especially, like I said, that pick and roll and those high screens, man, really bothered them a lot. Disappointed in that. So we'll see what happens with the next go-round. But I'm hoping when you start off with these cupcakes, you build up like everybody else does, and hopefully our big guy from Oregon can do a little bit more than just sit out there and complain. Can complain a lot. So we'll see what he brings to the table when the Big Ten season comes about and he's playing against top end players. But I'm a little worried about him. I gotta admit, I'm a little worried about him. You hear that, Brandon? You hear that? That neutrality? I'm a little worried about it.
Yeah, I went to. I texted John. I said I feel like I'm not being any facetious against IU, but I said I feel like I said with him with this Mike Woodson team in year 2, with what he's got, you got to be deeper than six guys. You got to be.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that always worries me. You know who does that too? The Arkansas coach, man, Musselman.
Yeah.
He plays 7 guys, maybe 8 tops. But it just, you can't. I don't know. I'm not gonna say you can't, because they know a lot more about this thing than I do. But it's just disappointing seeing guys that can potentially help you. Even when guys get worn down a little bit, you don't play as well because you're a little tired. Give them a blow, especially in the first half. So, but maybe there's something happening in practice that Mike is seeing, and he said, you're not going to. You got to earn this stripe. So maybe it's ugly red sweater. Maybe that ugly red sweater he's wearing. I swear it doesn't look right. I know why he's doing it, but it doesn't fit the same.
Playing time is supposed to be earned. I do remember that, man. But they're playing teams that, you know what I'm saying, they should necessarily be teeing off on, man. Like the guys who are like borderline, like this is a teachable moment. They need to get burned. Those are the kind of things in my mind when I kind of think that before, you know what I'm saying, before we start jumping off and playing, you know what I'm saying, the Arizonas of the world and just putting our, you know what I'm saying, our young guys in the feet of fire, man. But no, they gotta get up to that. But if you ain't playing them, then how can you expect them to excel when you need them, you know what I'm saying, in a really crunch time game?
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been a crunch game. You win by 8 at home. I'm guessing they take the loss on the neutral court, man. In that game the other night, I'm guessing they take the loss, and I hate saying that, but I think that would have been a loss on a neutral court. I gotta ask you. Go ahead.
I thought you said basketball. I thought you were gonna come in because it hasn't happened in quite some time that Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks. And you was there, weren't you?
Yeah, me and Red. Yeah, we were there, man. We were hot,
So the homie Giannis went off for 55.
Hey, he can have 65 long as we get the win. And that's what I told Reggie in the first quarter. Yeah, I think he's at 24 in the first quarter. I said, everybody's like, oh, he's got too many points. I said, but we're winning. That's all that matters. And so many people are worried about hanging X on a team. I don't care. You know, and you all sponsor. Scott King messages in our chat. Oh, he's killing the Pacers. So what? Went away with a W, man. Come on, that doesn't move me like it moves others, right? But I do want to say real quick.
Go ahead. Go back. Yeah.
Carlos Knox still at IUPUI? I haven't been following.
As the head coach now, man. One of my good buddies is the head coach there, man. Carlos Knox is like he was Knox is back in I want to say either Tulane. He's back, or he might even be back. He might be coaching I can't remember, man. Don't give me the line, man. Okay. But I think he coaches.
But it's cool. I was just wondering about that. I wasn't for sure, and I wanted to make sure I asked, because I heard you all speak about IUPUI. Maybe we got to catch the game.
He is Carlos Knox is he's now the University of Notre Dame's Director of Player Development for Michael Shrewsbury.
Okay. Good for him, man. Good for him. But you know, but back to the Pacers, you know, you got this garbage going on tonight. Back-to-back games on the road with the same team. That's what this gimmick has created. It's not an in-season tournament. It's a gimmick tournament, and it's ridiculously horrible. I can't wait till it's over, right? And we'll see what happens. But
they're going to get stomped again tonight, probably. Joel Embiid is going to make Miles Turner his bitch once again.
They're up. I think they were up 6 when I called in. But again, to your point, though, Brandon, that's not a good matchup. That's not a good matchup, and he's not a good matchup for a lot of teams, not just the Pacers. But it's really a bad matchup for the Pacers because your best defensive, player is kind of like your softest in the same sense in the post, right? And that's a challenge, So we'll see what happens. Can't wait for them to get back home and get them home cooking, because I don't expect them to do much tonight. Can't watch it anyway.
Five times last year, D-Cott, Pacers had back-to-back games against an opponent. So it wasn't just the in-season, but it happened five other times.
No, not on the road. Not on the road, they didn't.
Yes.
Not on the road, they didn't.
Yes. Saturday, October 29th, and Monday, October 31st, they played both games in Brooklyn. They played both games in Detroit. I'm looking at them right now.
I apologize. I don't remember that being the case last year. And this is just. But here's the deal. I guess
March 11th and 13th
tonight is a tournament game, which is why that's there, right?
Quote tournament game.
It's a tournament game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just maybe that's my fault. I take the L on that one. But
no, you're good.
I'm not. No thanks.
They actually had two games. They actually had two games last year. Home against the Magic back-to-back, November 19th and November 21st.
This just seems odd to me.
It is very much.
You thought, and maybe I didn't pay as much attention last season, but because I'm so blinded by the tournament. Because my hatred for the tournament is probably so strong, I missed an easy one, right?
D-Cop, what'd you think of Kevin Garnett? What he said about the Pacers? Did you see the clip?
No, I don't watch a lot of opinions. So what did he say?
Well, you watch our opinions, so
no. Y'all my boys, though.
He said that the Pacers are one of his favorite teams to watch this year, and he loves all the guys. They're all out there working to play hard. It's a different type of mentality and a different type of team you're seeing out there than what you see with the other NBA teams. But his co-host says, yeah, they look great on offensively. People are sitting there, Halliburton doing this, but they give up a shit ton of points on defense.
But you know what? Let me tell you this, right? And that part is accurate. But I'll give you the first piece, right? When I hear these opinion shows and stuff like that, and the guys that aren't in the locker room or aren't following the team, I don't add a lot of value, good or bad, just to be honest. It doesn't move me much. But the defensive thing is kind of having a little myth, right? I'm at the game. These guys are in their stances. The problem is you're talking about possessions. And not just that, but you're talking about possessions. Think back to the Denver Rockets back in the ABA days. I remember loving watching them come because I knew we were going to score a lot of points. It didn't matter because the way they played creates the opportunity for more points. I would love to see a breakdown of of this team playing and how many points the whole game is versus a Pacers team. I just think they have a 15 to 25 point higher pace. I mean, those guys aren't scoring on defense. They're playing defense. I just think it's a possession thing, and I could be wrong. I think it's the number of possessions, and I think they're ready to get the ball out the net or off the rim and go with it, right? But you still got to be able to, and when the time is right, slow that ball down and get a strong possession. Remember, I told you guys about the game against the Bulls. We shot ourselves out of that because our mind says, let's get up and down the court as fast as we can. That wasn't that game for them. Talking heads, did y'all hear what Boston's coach said? He wants a minimum of 53s a game. I was listening to NBA radio, and that was with what's his name? Emil Hassan, and I forget the other guy. And he said he wanted 53s a game. Did y'all hear that?
No, I did not, but it's a little insane.
And they were clowning him saying, that's why are you putting this type of pressure on guys jacking up threes that way, right? I think it was after the Philly game, if I'm not mistaken.
Our sponsor, Scott K. Nichols, says until the Pacers play defense, they'll just be a, quote, a fun team. And he says, at DCOT, stop it. Pacers don't give the same effort on defense as they do offense.
Hey, tell him, because I'm on my phone, tell him, let me know. We can go to the game together. We can sit and watch it. Because I love talking hoops with him. Because you know what? I know he's emotional about LeBron and all that, and he loves him to death. I know he's hearing me. But I love talking serious hoops with him. But we got to sit next to each other. We can't do it on the internet.
Hey, man, he can't go to a game. He's too busy. He's too busy traveling the world, man. Every time I see him, he's on a beach somewhere.
Hey, but you know what? He got to come back to Indy sometime soon. and when he does, we got to hook up because, again, like I said, when we get to talking serious, just me and him, it's a whole different ball game. And, yes, they're not going to put the type of effort on defense because the mindset of that overrated coach, Mr. 900 wins, is get the ball up the court. Because he understands, I got to make these guys happy because I know my coaching isn't going to make them happy. So let me make them happy by running.
You want to make some money?
What player doesn't want to run?
You want to make some money?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you've been taking these Pacers over-unders because they're 9-1. They've hit the over 9 out of 10 games this year.
That's a good get, man. That's a definitely good get. I disagree with Scott from a defensive perspective. Yes, they're not going to play the type of defense that they play on offense, but it's not lackluster. If you watch, they're playing defense. It's just not the most. It's 60-40. Their deal is let's get up
playing that Olay.
Let's make things happen.
Playing that Olay defense.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. I would say Olay. I would say Umai. So, but we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. I'm going to reach out to him and let him know. Let's figure, because I got the 22nd. We might be able to do that game, but the 22nd next Wednesday, and see if we can make it happen. Last thing.
Hold on, I got breaking news. Breaking news from the college football universe. John, you better hold on to your hats. The report, UCLA is likely to fire head coach Chip Kelly after the USC game. So Chip Kelly will not make it to the Big Ten. He will be fired after the game against USC this weekend.
I'll always say, you make sure you can get better. Make sure you can get better. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know who that guy is. Maybe that guy's name, his initials are DS. Who knows, right? Potentially. I don't think that Sanders finishes next after his son leaves. I don't think he finishes one more season at Colorado.
Woo!
And that's not like some earth-shattering news. Come on.
He'll be there. His kids are going to be there at least for another season.
No. I said after. Whichever I think should do it. The youngest, the safety. He's the younger of the two.
I heard Jonathan Birdsong was going to pay. He was going to get a loan out, and Jonathan Birdsong was going to pay whatever it took to get Deion Sanders up there to West Lafayette. He don't have to change his colors at all. From Colorado, he can keep the same colors.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And of course, it'll be interesting, right, to see how it all shakes out. But he's not long for that play. Jonathan, what say you? What do you say Deion's next stop is?
I haven't. John's on the line, but I'm not hearing him. I don't know if he's got us on mute.
I'm not hearing him either. Well, he can hear us. So listen. Let's. I don't want to hog off everybody's time. College football.
Yeah.
Brandon, I know you can mark to the tape. It was week 3. You all beat me up verbally.
Yep.
I had to hide for 2 weeks about my guys. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in that SEC title game holding that trophy up.
I got it, man.
It wouldn't surprise me, man. Milroe has been exactly what I said. As the season goes, he's going to get better. And I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people knock the offensive coordinator from Tommy Rees, but he fed him nice and slow. And if you saw that game, I didn't see any of the Kentucky game. I was doing my Veterans Day stuff. But I got a feeling that there's something there. And it wouldn't like I'm not saying they're a national title, but if they win that SEC game and get in the playoffs, it's only 4 teams. It's not 20 teams.
Yeah.
So,
no, I've got them. They're plus money right now to put them in the college football playoff, which I think is crazy that they're plus money. Because I can easily see them go in and call. I kind of want them to beat Georgia just because I want chaos the final year of the of this 4-teamer. I want chaos. And I sent John a tweet. Let me ask you this, D-Cot. I sent him a tweet or a text. I may have sent him a text. Let me find that text. So I did a hypothetical, and the hypothetical I had to him was, give me a second here. I just had it, damn it. It is, where are you at? Your Big Ten champion, whether it be Michigan or Ohio State, whoever wins that game. You've got Florida State, ACC champ, undefeated. You have Oregon. Say Oregon beats Washington, so they're 12-1 Pac-12 champ. Texas, your Big 12 champ at 12-1. Bama, your SEC champ at 12-1. Georgia, 12-1 SEC runner-up. Washington, 12-1 as your runner-up. And then Ohio State or Michigan, whoever loses, is 12-1. There's going to be some teams left out of the dance there. And I told John,
that's real chaos.
I don't think Texas is going to make it. I really don't. I don't even think – I have Texas and Florida State, and even an undefeated Florida State, I have them out.
I would say this, right? The Texas win, they're hoping that Bama runs the table, obviously, because that's going to strengthen their deal and their story. But what I would say is this, and even I think to the point of what you just said, and if Florida State stays undefeated, Texas wins out, Oregon wins out, or Washington wins out, either or. I don't see Bama getting in there, and not because of skill or whatever. I just think it's Bama fatigue, man. I think it's Bama fatigue. People want to see something new. They're tired of Georgia already too.
I say Georgia. I think there's plenty of Georgia fatigue too.
Yeah, right, but it's 10 times as much Bama fatigue, right? Because of you talk about the last 17 years. But my pain is with that. Somebody's going to get left out no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can go to 12 teams next year, I promise you, guess what's going to happen? Somebody's going to get left out. Think about what happens in March. We complain about the 60-15, man. So people got to pump their brakes. Oh, I can't believe this happened. Settle down. Stop listening to all those long-winded talk shows about how the disrespect is real. Everybody can't get in, man. And I'm telling you, Bama can run the table. They can beat Georgia, but what you just said happened, Brandon, with those teams winning, Bama's not in. And it wouldn't surprise me if they put Georgia in. It wouldn't surprise me.
That's
just my thought.
With the Chip Kelly news out of UCLA likely, and I know you'd like to see Deion maybe head out there, but if they don't go that route, Could we see who just got terminated, Jimbo Fisher, take his $76 million and head out there to UCLA?
It's money there in Texas because that oil money is real, right? That oil money, and then you're being in the SEC. And then, Deion's done a lot of talking. Let's see if you're going to back it up with, because remember he said he felt he was the best coach in the country, right? Remember he said that, I thought I'm the best. Okay. If you feel you're the best, take UCLA or A&M. That's what I say. But again, I don't think he's going to leave.
Yeah, can Jimbo take a SEC scheme of Texas A&M, whether it worked or not? Can he take that and be successful in the Pac-12? I mean, by the time he get there, it's going to be the Big Ten. But can he take that up into the Big Ten and possibly be successful?
Man, I think a lot of smoke and mirrors with Jimbo, man. I think he owes half that $75 million to Nick. I mean, I've never been a Jimbo guy. When he was, just coaching for Nick, and that's fine. But when he was at Florida State, he talks all fast. He talks confused. He never makes to me, a point that's clear and concise. He just always ran. Remember, he says, that guy told me, he said, I bought players, blah, 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 blah. He goes on. Ask anybody ever worked with him. Well, you worked with him.
Did Deion,
what are you talking about?
Did Deion take Colorado a year too soon? Because Zach Arnett just got fired from Mississippi State, and that's not too far from Jackson State. That could have been a good marriage, possibly.
But the thing about the Mississippi State deal, Arnett was never going to be the guy.
No,
I have someone that I'm familiar with that's in the Mississippi State, family, director of alumni services. He was alienating people his first month in because he's so intense. He's so fired up, and he didn't come in like a head coach. He came in like, I've got something to prove. I'm a defensive coordinator, and I'm going to show you. But what he did, he came behind Mike Leach, who's an easygoing.
Yep.
Yeah, he's those other things, that's fine. But he's a likable personality. Arnett has never been a likable personality. And what he did, he prided himself on that. To put himself in that position. He was never going to be that guy, man. Unless they would have came out with 9-3 this year or something like that. He was never going to be that guy. But I don't know that Deion goes back to Mississippi after leaving Jackson State. Yes, it's a step up. However, the thought process is it could be a building block for Deion, right? To see what goes on. And he can say, hey, I'm back in Mississippi. Here I go.
Let me ask you another one.
I mean, the talent.
Oh, yeah. The talent's there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know where John is went. John's lost the call. I don't know where the hell he's at. If he fell asleep, I don't know. So I'm talking college football with D-Cot. Maybe this is the Reef and D-Cot show. I don't know. Maybe.
You know what? Hey, it sounds pretty good. Hey, we'll talk afterwards.
Let me ask you this. Penn State fires their offensive coordinator. They're getting ready to have their 7th offensive coordinator since James Franklin's been the head coach. I'm starting to believe it's not an offensive coordinator problem. I think it's the head of the table.
There's no starting, bro. We talked about this too. James Franklin, he panicked in the first quarter, and he never recovered, right? He's never brought in a quarterback that can be not just a dual threat guy, but a guy that can make a difference. He wants a game manager at quarterback because he's at Penn State. He better go down south and get one of those young cats that can do it all. He hasn't had that do-it-all guy. Yeah, he's got the running back. Yeah, he's got the linebacker. Yeah, he's got the defensive back. But that quarterback position in the Big Ten, it's not just a game manager anymore. Even in the Big Ten, those guys are still scoring 25 to 30 points a game.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I say, I'm not saying fire the guy James Franklin. That's not cool to say that. But him being there, he's been given an opportunity, obviously, a big opportunity. And if they're okay with 9-3, okay, fine. Keep him there. That's what I would say. What do you want, Penn State? Are you okay?
They want to beat Michigan. They haven't done that in forever.
Well, in that case, I would, unless you got somebody else coming in to Happy Valley, the white uniforms, the the Fighting Joe Paternos, I don't know that you look for somebody else. I mean, I think that there's a ceiling where he's at, but I don't know who you grab to punch through that ceiling, though, man.
Right.
Is it Chip Kelly? Is it Chip Kelly? You know, I mean, you gotta have somebody with a quarterback, man, that has a quarterback mindset. And I don't know that Franklin does.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was looking at candidates for Texas A&M, possibly, and you know, there's 4 names I have on my list who could be possible candidates for this position. I've got Dan Lanning at Oregon, even though I don't know why he would leave Oregon for Texas A&M unless he doesn't want the income tax, and I can understand that.
Right. I
don't think Texas A&M is stupid enough to go the Florida State route again, like they did with Jimbo, and go get Norvell. Because I don't think they would. Norvell, he may jump if he was offered, but I don't think they're going to do that again. Going that route. You could throw the name out there, but I've seen a couple reports of Lane Kiffin, but I just don't see Lane Kiffin going to A&M. I think he's got what he's got at Ole Miss, and it's good enough for him to stay there. But I think Mike Elko from Duke, he was the old defensive coordinator for A&M previously. Yeah. That's a perfect marriage.
But you know the thing about Elko, right? It kind of reminds me of James Franklin. You're at a school with a higher academic, you know, and also my man, also Ty Willingham at Stanford. You got that platform, right? And yes, you've overachieved in where you have. You don't have any real pressure on you as a CEO of those schools. That's going to change, man. Wherever you go elsewhere, and I haven't seen those guys from Ty, like you said, Elko. Also, you're talking about escaping right now, but those guys leaving those schools where the expectations are to Brady Hope.
Yeah.
Brady Hope. And also the guy from West Virginia who went to Michigan.
Rich Rod.
Yes. The expectations weren't there, and you're able to exceed those based off of the expectations. Well, that's going to ramp up about 50%. And where do you stand? You got to find some guys that are assistant coaches. They're like, hey, I'm that dude recruiting-wise. I'm that guy with my offensive scheme. If you don't do that, you're toast. And I don't see any of those guys we just talked about being the guy because of just that from an expectation perspective.
Do you feel?
And, we could.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like you said, I just don't know talent pool. Who else the hell's out there that you would feel comfortable with?
You got to go risk on a guy, right? You got to go risk a guy.
Yeah.
You remember, when Brian Kelly came with Central Michigan, right? Then he went to Cincinnati. You need somebody at ground up, right? Not at a school where he's overachieving. The guy from Minnesota, the tie and sweater guy.
Row the boat.
But you know what? Minnesota's done nothing. Again, he didn't have the pressures either, right? And look, I bet you Minnesota's probably a 500 team with him as coach.
Mel Tucker's available.
Yeah. Hey, my man Mel, man. I wouldn't mind seeing him back down in Tuscaloosa, man. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But with that baggage that he has, I don't think that's going to happen. But the word came out that young lady set him up big time. So,
Damn.
I think he has an opportunity, but maybe not down there in Tuscaloosa, but maybe elsewhere in the next couple of years.
Harbaugh's suspension.
But you're right, man. The talent pool.
Yeah, Harbaugh's suspension. Too less, too much, not enough. Do we need more?
I feel like it should have been, from my perspective, a monetary issue, not just a game suspension, right? So I thought, and again, I don't know. I mean, you can say $10 million in Michigan. Is that too much? I don't know. But I thought monetary and scholarships. And here's why I say that. I'm not a Michigan fan, but let's be honest here. Those head coaches, you may not be pulling the trigger, but you know who shot the gun. And for them to say he was a rogue guy, those guys, he's making what, $30,000 a year? I promise you, he's not doing anything rogue. Let's be honest here, right? Those guys that are not coaches, that are analysts or what have you, about 30,000 a year is where they're at.
Yeah.
He ain't doing that by himself, man. And that's my concern. Of course, the Michigan faithful, oh, no, it's a witch hunt, and that sounds great to say. But at the end of the day, man, you can say, hey, my fingerprints on the gun, and I didn't give the bullet.
Yeah.
That's great. He can rest on that. But I believe this is Harbaugh's last year regardless.
I do.
And
I agree as well.
think he goes to the NFL.
I don't think he's got as much talent coming in next year as what he's got now. So he might as well strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and so then you can say, I told you so. Or if he loses, he says, well, we were going through so much we couldn't overcome it, right? So it's a win-win for him, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
He can't lose in his case because he's going to be the professional victim.
Let me ask you this, because I don't have my co-host with me, so you're the temp co-host tonight.
We rolling, baby. We rolling.
I gotta know, man. Philadelphia. I'm gonna go back to the association. Philadelphia 76ers undefeated since the Harden trade. Clippers winless since the Harden trade. What a cancer he is.
Addition by subtraction, right? The guy said that he was never given the reins in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey handpicked him. He plugged himself out of Brooklyn, out of New Jersey, put himself into Philadelphia, and had the audacity to say he wasn't supported the way he needed to be supported. If that isn't the coup de grace, there is none.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was painful to me, man, seeing that.
They're so bad. So bad. I watched the Clippers the other night against Memphis. My God. The team was discombobulated.
And I'll tell you this, is funny you say that, Brandon. Speaking of the Clippers, and and you did see the Jerry West interview on the podcast with PG-13 or PG-12, whatever the hell his name is now.
I did not see it.
He said to him, I don't understand how players of your magnitude, yourself and Kawhi, can only play 40% of the games. That's not. And PG was stunned. I forget exactly what he said. It was that, you're blah, blah, blah. But, I don't see it happen because their mindset is when it hurts, I got to get out the game, right?
Right.
When it hurts, I got to get out. And I think that's a mentality to have. It's, they talk about football. You got to have that tough mentality, run the ball mentality. Well, their mentality is when it hurts, I'm done.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for the Clipper fans, I don't see any way. Yeah, you got four really talented guys, but you got four really talented guys if this were, 2015. But it's not.
Yeah.
This is 2023. And that's my pain for them, man.
Pacers up at halftime against the 76ers. Tyrese Halliburton at the half, 20 points, 6 assists, 0 turnovers, 7 of 10 shooting, 6 of 8 from 3.
He's smart, man. He's a smart dude. If you watch him, and Scott will agree with me on this, you watch Halliburton, he's a difference maker. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the tallest. He's not the quickest. But that dude makes such great decisions when the ball is in his hand. And that's why Chicago jumped him when they were here and took the ball out of his hand. He's such a facilitator / difference maker. It's such a drop when he's out of the game, man.
This court is ridiculous.
I saw that.
The red court, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't even. My eyes are hurting watching this.
Yeah, it's definitely painful, man. I'll admit that. But the thing with that, right? The Pacers, they played really well in the first half. Watch this third quarter. Feel like the crowd will get behind them a little bit. They'll get on a little run. Rick will do his fast timeout, walking like he's mad at the world. And then you watch the players when they slump out, right? When they say, "Damn, man, don't be so this on us," right? And that's what I think, probably going to happen again. But Halliburton can't play 40 minutes a game, though.
No.
You've got to develop a type of scheme that's going to allow him to play 35 minutes a game, not 40 minutes a game. So, what is 5 minutes? That's 5 minutes at an NBA pace, not 5 minutes, at a high school basketball pace.
Right.
That's what I believe. And I hate to say this, I think McTryhard would be a a great person when Halliburton is playing. Not when he's out. He doesn't move the needle. I'm talking about McTry, about
McConnell.
McConnell, yeah. TJ McConnell. That's what I believe.
Sixers are, I just looked up the spread for the third quarter. Sixers minus 3.5 for the third quarter.
Yeah. That's about right. Yeah. But it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. And if I'm not one of those bettors that bet, quarters have that much. But if I was one of those guys, I'd dump a load, man, on the Sixers and covering that 3.5.
Yeah.
They I don't know what they talk about at the halftime, but it just doesn't resonate in third quarter. Versus Nate McMillan, when he was coaching, third quarter was the Pacers' best quarter.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, right? What are we talking about at halftime, right? So I believe that if the game is tight, the Pacers have a chance, but they've got to keep it tight. If it's 6-8, like that, 10, Pacers don't have a chance to win because I just don't believe they have the resolve right now because they're gonna be jacking up those threes. You gotta slow it down when it's necessary. You can't say, well, this is just how we do. This is what we're gonna do, and that's what they did against Chicago. That's what got them beat.
Oh yeah.
You lead for the first
and then
40 minutes of the game.
You could tell on that game with Halliburton, he was trying too hard to make something, and that's where he lost the ball. And it was just like, dude, pass the ball there at that point. You've cut all the out for way too long. But he'll get more. He's still young. He'll develop. And I will tell you, I am a little not concerned, but I feel like Ben Mathurin has taken a little bit of a step back from where he was at last year. That sophomore slump.
Man, it's funny. My neighbor Tyrone said the exact same thing. He said the exact same thing. That's why they have to have that conversation between him and Mr. 900. I mean, this is too early in the season to be having a one-on-one conversation with your coach, and you're in the starting lineup. I think he feels he's got some things to prove. I think he feels like he's got to show, hey, I'm the man. Similar to when Austin Crozier got the starting position years ago when the Pacers were doing that thing, and he got into I think it was Isaiah's first year, and he wasn't the same. It's different, man. You're not playing against the same type of talent and guys, and you got to understand that he's got to be a smarter guy, rushing shots. Now I'm not gonna say threes. He doesn't shoot a whole lot of threes, but he rushes a lot of shots.
Yes,
and I think he tried to prove himself. Buddy Hield need to start shooting better. I tell you what, or he'll find himself like what was the kid? I forget his name. But if he's not hitting threes, Buddy Hield, I'm saying he's one of the fan favorites, but he can't be in the game playing 20 minutes a game if he's not hitting threes, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's my thought on Buddy. I like him. The guys, Chase Buddingham, that's his name.
Oh yeah.
Chase Buddingham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's who Buddy Hield's going to turn into if he don't start hitting shots. Yeah. So I understand you got things to prove. This is his last year of a $19 million deal. You should have a little bit more gumption to you to make some of those shots, man. And right now, I think he's pressing a little bit too because he's not comfortable and coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Remember, that's why he was allowed to seek a trade. He wasn't a fan of coming off the bench. So, who knows what will and won't happen. But if something doesn't stick between that Ben and Buddy and Obi Toppin, I was really happy with Obi Toppin. He's got 14
points tonight so far. So I've been on his ass all year. Unfortunately, I've been on his ass, and John will be the first to say it. So hopefully,
yeah, I'm with you there, man. And he's got to do something about that. And if not, do you put in Isaiah to get some of his minutes? Washington, the guy plays defense all the time.
Yeah, I think the problem is you lose a little bit of that offensive spark when you need it. When you take him out, that corner three, it kind of spaces out the rest of the court. That's where my concern is doing that. But
and I'm with you 100%. But the flip side of that does someone else step up? Because to your point, to Scott's point, you gotta stop somebody at some point, right? And I think Isaiah has earned a little bit more playing time, man, with big blocks and going after it hard. I'm not saying he's a 30-minute a game guy, but give Obi Toppin through the next 10, 15 games. We're not going to just throw him to the trash right now, but I definitely think it needs to be looked at for sure.
Last thing, Bruce Brown, he came out that first night, 24 points. In the last 9 games, he's only touched double figures 3 times. So he's 6 and 9.
You know why? Because he's sitting in the corner waiting on a shot. He's sitting in the corner waiting on a shot, man. He's got to be that guy that he was not, necessarily exactly like that guy he was in Denver. But what got him paid and what got him floor time wasn't spotting up. It was his defensive prowess, right? Able to guard the 2, 3, or 4, and his heart. And I just haven't seen a lot of that,
Uh-huh.
I mean, we threw a bag at him, but the great thing about it is if it doesn't turn around, it's only a 1-year deal because the Pacers have the team option on year 2.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree with that.
So if you look at it that way, you got him on last year, you got Obi on last year, and you got our 2 guard last year. So maybe this isn't the way the team's going to look next year. That's 3 guys right there that may not be there who are key contributors to your team currently. If you think about that, and I know most Pacers fans don't want to hear that, but there are Buddy last year, Obi last year, and Bruce. I mean, it can be his last year.
Yeah, plenty to, and really we haven't even touched yet Jarace Walker and what he could do as he'll be a developing product.
Yeah. Well, we hope, and again, I knew that at the beginning of the year he wasn't going to get a lot of floor, right? And that's fine. But if things aren't working, you got him for 5 years. It's worth taking a look and see what we can come up with him, man. I think he seems like a good young man. He's got a positive disposition about it, which I love. But it's easy to have a positive disposition when you're a rookie and you're around a lot of vets and they're telling you, how to act, right? But I say throw him in there and garbage time and see what he can do. Not mid-game or anything like that, but garbage time, I wouldn't be opposed to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think especially if you're getting blown out or you're up big, let's get the guy some run. I mean, we don't hear what he does in practice as much, and is he getting enough run in practice? Does he look lost out there? Is he not picking up the NBA lifestyle speed? But you think you would get that when you're doing your scouting before the draft on a guy when you bring him in and even the combine.
You would hope.
Yeah, you would hope if you have the right scouts in there.
But you just never know, man. In today's climate, I mean, he could have one of the best attitudes, that we've got out there, and we would never know it. Or he could have the worst attitude, and we would never know it, right? Because those things just don't leak out in bankers' life like they do in other.
And it should stay in house. It should. You see the trouble with Philadelphia.
Absolutely should.
Yeah.
But hopefully it turns around. Hopefully, I would love for them to get a win tonight, even though I don't like this janky ass tournament. I would love for them to get a win tonight and get some momentum going into the holidays and see what happens, man, for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping they win tonight, but I would not be surprised if this quote in-season tournament there's some home cooking towards the end of the game.
Oh, so. Absolutely. Think about it, man. Hey, did you see the article today? I think it was on ESPN.com, and they showed the Sixers record and the Denver Rockets. I say Rockets because that's my thinking. Record, and said we want to see Embiid and the Russian in their prime. And that's what people want, man. That's what people want. I know he's not Russian, but
right.
Jokic. I think people want to see that to the point of where, hey, man, it's about money. What do you think about this tournament? It's money. So they're not going to turn their back on money, and there was an opportunity to have the 2 guys who were neck and neck for the MVP last year. Fans are divided. Jokic wins it. I say Jokic. Embiid wins it, and a lot of people say Jokic got robbed. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, man. That's why this home cooking thing, that's why we got to get some wins under our belt some 50-win seasons so we can have some of that cachet that some of these other teams have.
Sounds good.
So
D-Cot, appreciate
thought.
you joining me tonight and being my running mate, my wingman. I don't know. My other wingman must have fouled out or something. I don't know what the hell's going on.
No worries, man. Hope my man is good to go. But if you need me, man, in a pinch, you can always call me, man. I'm always in, man, for sure.
Beautiful. Thanks, D-Cot. Have a great night, and good luck to your bets. And always remember, Red 9.
Always, man. No doubt. Right next to 30, baby. All right, man. Be safe.
See you, sir. All right, that's our guy, D-Cot. We got about 30 minutes. We had about 30 minutes left in the show tonight, folks. And I'm not sure where my co-host went to. JB was on the call, and we talked to D-Cot. JB started talking, and then D-Cot kind of started going into his thing, and we lost Jonathan. And I don't know where he was at. I don't know if the phone issues. He was still on the line, but didn't hear from him. Not sure what happened with John. So, but we hit a lot of topics with D-Cot that I was going to hit with Jonathan tonight, with college football, the Jimbo Fisher, the firings of there, and such. We got the playoff rankings are going to be out in the next 35 minutes or so. But we talked Pacers. I talked NBA. The only thing I haven't really talked about is the Undertaker's One Dead Man Show review. And I kind of wanted to talk with Jonathan about that. And, college pick'em, people. College pick'em. Myself, Jonathan, and Tanner. Tanner wasn't going to be on tonight, so we're not going to get his picks. We're not going to do my picks or John's picks on apparently on here tonight. So you'll have to look for our picks. That'll be live up on the Facebook page and on Twitter accounts. We'll have our college pick'em picks on there for next week. Or for this week, we'll have it up there. I'll probably end up having them up there Thursday or so. I can get picks from John and them still. We'll get that up there. Undertaker Dead Man Show, real quick. I'll just talk about that real quick. Great show. No cell phones in there. You had to put them in a pouch, which it was a cool experience to kind of just disconnect from the world for 2 hours and not have your phone near you, and it's always going alerts and all that shit. It was good not to have that. Undertaker went through a lot of stories. He started off talking about WrestleMania 8. He was here at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. His opponent, Jake Roberts. So he kind of went into stories about Jake Roberts, up and down the road with Jake Roberts, those type of things. He talked about the wrestling business now and where it's been, as well as the finishing maneuvers that we see all the time in AEW and stuff, the false finishes. He talked about that. Talked about Vince McMahon very candidly, which is great to see. I'm not going to go into all the big stories because that's what you pay to go see. So, but there was a great time, great Q&A. I actually got a Undertaker hat, the actual rest in peace hat that he has with the purple band. Bro, it was sitting there at the concession line. I had to get the hat, so it's all part of the memorabilia. It's on the wall, so had to get that hat. But no, it was a great opportunity, great show. A little bit of housekeeping real quick. Next week's show will be on Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving. We'll give you a little Thanksgiving Eve special show. So that way, the night before, as you're drinking your bourbon and whatnot and preparing the cooking, we'll give you your show on Wednesday night, most likely. Maybe Tuesday night, but right now we have it scheduled for Wednesday. And then on your drive to Thanksgiving on Thursday, just put us on. Put us on. Listen to the show next Thursday night. I mean, what's better, right? Going to family, listen to our chaos before you go to your family's chaos. So great opportunity for that. But I don't know where JB's at. Thank you, D-Cot, for calling in. D-Cot, thank you for being the fill-in host with me tonight as we hit up all these topics. We'll have our pick'ems and stuff out later this week. Always remember, the conversation will always continue on Facebook. The conversation will always continue on Twitter, at Brandon Reef, at Three Foolish Men, for Jonathan, and at Crossroads Sports on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram as well. I want to thank our sponsor, Scott K. Nichols, State Farm Insurance. And I also want to thank our sponsor, Mavericks Customer Motorsports. Where would we be without both of you guys being our sponsors? We thank you as well. Please check them out for all your needs Scott K. Nichols, like I said, thank you for all that you do. Love that you tune into the show as well. Thank you for believing in our product and what we do. Other than that, I don't have anything else this evening. Maybe me and myself and Jonathan will do a mini show later this week to catch up on some things we didn't get to tonight. I don't know where John's at. MIA. We'll see. But thank you guys for everybody. Tune in, Twitter, Facebook, Team Conversation. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you guys all again next week.
Thanks for listening to the Crossroads Sports Radio Show.